Most tourists think they don't have enough time to see anything beyond Bangkok's big tourist spots. But I found a cycling trip that covers the most iconic parts of the city and explores hidden neighborhoods that most tourists have never even heard of, all in just half a day. In this video, I'll show you why this is one of the best things to do in Bangkok, plus the 5 epic parts of the city that we explored by bike and by boat. For stop 1 today, we've had to make our way over a river city, which is on the banks of the Chao Phraya River, and this is our meeting point for the day. Today, I'm taking you on Bangkok's best cycling route, and I'm doing it with a company that basically invented bike tours in the city, Van Kessel. This is one of the longest running travel companies in Bangkok, and it was founded by a Dutch guy who fell in love with Bangkok and spent years figuring out the coolest back streets, canals, and hidden neighborhoods you can only reach on 2 wheels. I mean, the Dutch love their bicycles, so I figured this trip must be good, right? There are lots of different cycling routes, but if you really want to cover the city, you need to choose their 5-hour cycling route because that's the one that includes the boat trip. We started the trip by heading towards Chinatown. This is one of the most interesting parts of the city, but most tourists never really explore it beyond the main road, and what they don't realize is that Chinatown is actually huge. It's a vast network of hidden temples, delicious street food, and winding alleys. We started the Chinatown section by visiting one of my favorite parts. Talat Noi is one of the coolest streets in Chinatown and a spot almost every tourist misses. It's a really interesting spot because its streets are lined with graffiti and modern street art. We'll also cycle past century-old shop houses where families have been working for generations. And this is the part most tourists never experience. When you only have a short time in the big city, you stick to the main streets. But the soul of Bangkok is in these side alleys where real life happens. We then cycled into parts of Chinatown, which I'm going to be honest, I'm not really sure where it is. Part of the fun here was not really having too much to think about in terms of where we were going. We just followed our guides. And since I was showing my friend Talal around, I really appreciated not having to stop every few minutes to think where we were going. This was a slightly nervy part of the trip. You cycle along these narrow alleyways and there's quite a lot of tourists here, so you had to watch out. That was about to get worse though because we're now heading into one of those chaotic parts of Chinatown. Yaowarat Road isn't just one of the most iconic streets in Bangkok, it's one of the most iconic streets anywhere in the world. It's famous for its neon signs and legendary street food. Yaowarat is intense. There's motorbikes weaving between tuk-tuks, delivery carts flying past, and cars squeezing through impossible gaps. It's pure chaos. But our guides handle it like absolute pros. One rode at the front of our group, the other stayed behind, and they literally stopped traffic when we needed to cross. It was actually probably safer than being in a tuk-tuk, and by riding by bike, it really gave you a unique perspective of the road. Not only that, but we were able to stop along Yaowarat to get a photo with the iconic street sign backdrop. In that first hour alone, we covered so much ground, and unlike most guided tours, there wasn't constant talking or long explanations. We were just gliding through real Bangkok life, soaking it in. And after about an hour and a half, it was finally time for a break. And our next stop was absolutely stunning. So we just finished cycling through the Chinatown section of the tour, and that was pretty hectic. You know, there's people jumping out here everywhere you go. Very, very busy section. I'm kind of surprised that they were able to cycle through there, to be honest here, but luckily there was people helping us. Part of the team were helping us, but it was a really cool way to see parts of the city that I've seen many times before. The next stop was the Chao Phraya River, the lifeblood of Bangkok. It cuts straight through the heart of the city, and everything you see in modern Bangkok, from trade to transport to temple culture, has grown around this river. Before roads existed, people traveled by boat and traded upon the river. But even today, more than 50,000 commuters still use the river every single day, and you'll see everything from tourists to monks traveling along the river. We crossed over the river to the other side of Bangkok and instantly the energy shifted. This was one of the most peaceful parts of the entire day, with smooth, spacious roads, perfect for cycling on, and epic river views. Almost no tourist gets to experience this dramatic shift from Bangkok's wildest streets to its most tranquil corners, all in a single ride. If you want to see both sides of Bangkok, the chaos and the calm, this is the only way to do it. Luckily, this section on the Chao Phraya River is a little bit easier to cycle down. So we've made a short stop here along the Chao Phraya River at this temple. It's called Wat Kalyanami. It's got a much longer name, but I'm not going to be able to pronounce it all. And this is a pretty cool temple. It's right next to the big temples, the famous ones, Wat Arun and Wat Po. But this is much less explored. I've definitely never been here before. Wat Kalyanami was a complete surprise for me. I'd never visited before, even though it sits right next to some of Bangkok's most famous temples. As soon as you walk in, you get this incredible view of the main temple building, which absolutely towers over you. Outside, you can really see the Chinese influence. From the architecture to the rows of Chinese-style Buddha statues, the whole courtyard has this clean, traditional marble look that instantly gives you a sense of calm, even if those distant storm clouds had me worried about the next part of the trip. But the real showstopper is inside. The moment you step into the main hall, you're greeted by this massive golden Buddha, nearly 30 meters tall. It completely fills the room, and standing in front of it feels overwhelming. So if you think you've seen all of Bangkok's temples, think again. This temple is a hidden gem that'll leave you speechless, and most visitors completely miss it. And from here, it wasn't far to our next stop, one of the most unique places in all of Asia. Bangkok was once known as the Venice of the East because its canal system weaved through every corner of the city. These waterways linked neighborhoods, carried goods, and shaped daily life, which is exactly why floating markets became such a big part of Thai culture. Entire communities lived along the canal banks and simply opened up shops right outside their home. Today, we're riding along one of the city's most important waterways, the Bangkok Yai Canal, also known as Klong Bangkok Yai. This is one of the most beautiful parts of Bangkok to explore. Life moves slower here. You see the wooden houses on stilts, people fishing off their balconies, little footbridges, and families sitting by the water. It really shows you what Bangkok looked like before the skyscrapers arrived. Plus, it's a nice break from cycling. You can just admire the views of the other long-tail boats zipping past and take it all in. One of the coolest parts about riding through this area is the number of canal-side temples. You pass several along the way, but one stands out from the rest. As you drift through the canal, you suddenly see this enormous golden Buddha rising above the rooftops. It's one of the biggest in the city, and it makes for one of the most jaw-dropping sights on the entire route. This is Wat Kalyanami, famous for its huge seated Buddha that's nearly 70 meters tall, which absolutely dominates the skyline. Behind it, you'll also spot the temple's other iconic structure, a towering white stupa that holds sacred relics and houses a 5-level museum filled with Buddhist artwork. If you have more time on another day, it's definitely worth coming back to explore this temple properly, but today we were just cruising right past it on our way deeper into the canal. Visiting the canals is one of the main reasons this cycling tour stands out. It's not just about pedaling around the city, you see an important part of Bangkok that you would have missed otherwise. We ended up riding much further along Bangkok Yai than I expected, into an area I'd never visited before. Suddenly the city gave way to something that felt almost rural. Quiet paths, greenery everywhere, and little neighborhoods that felt a world away from the chaos of downtown Bangkok. We kicked off this part of the trip with a short ride alongside the train tracks. And yeah, it was a bumpy one to say the least, and I definitely had to be careful not to fall off. After a few minutes, we pulled over right by the tracks for a little surprise, a chance to try some unique local snacks.
How to do? Low. Like this. And eat.
The snack they gave us was so good, it was called roti sai mai, which is basically Thai candy floss wrapped inside a soft pandan flavored crepe. It looks a bit strange at first, like a fluffy green pillow, but it's insanely sweet. It was the perfect little sugar hit, exactly what we needed to power through the rest of the ride. As we continued deeper into the ride, I realized that this part of Bangkok is nothing like what most people imagine the city to be like. It had a genuinely rural, almost jungle-like feel. We were cycling past banana trees, tiny wooden houses, and small hidden temples that just appeared out of nowhere. The roads here felt so much safer. There was more space, fewer vehicles, and you didn't have that constant fear of a tuk-tuk clipping your elbow, which made the whole ride so much more enjoyable. This area is known as Wat Sai, and it's a long way from downtown Bangkok. You can tell not many tourists make it out here because the locals were so excited to see us. People were waving, shouting hello, and smiling as we rode past. And in a city that gets millions of visitors, it felt pretty special to be somewhere where people genuinely appreciated you being there. It wasn't all smooth sailing though. We had to cross a couple of canals, which meant powering up steep bridges and navigating some very tight, narrow pathways. There were moments where you definitely had to focus unless you wanted to fall over in a ditch. It added a little bit of a challenge and a sense of danger to the ride, just enough to keep it interesting. By this point, we definitely worked up an appetite, so it was the perfect timing when we rolled into this tiny local restaurant for lunch. The place was super charming. It honestly felt like we just wandered into someone's back garden. We could walk around a bit, soak up the jungle scenery, and even spot a couple of monitor lizards wandering around out the back. The food was a simple, delicious Thai meal, exactly what we needed to recharge before the final stretch of the ride. This is the kind of hidden gem restaurant you would never find on your own, and that's what makes this tour so special. After lunch, we had a short, easy ride around the beautiful Wat Sai area before making our way back toward the canals. This part of the tour took us on another hidden canal, but then something happened that I didn't expect. Suddenly, we popped back onto the Chao Phraya River, just in time for sunset. Usually a sunset river cruise would cost way more than the price of a cycling trip, but that's another reason this tour is awesome. You get a cycling adventure, a canal trip, and a sunset river cruise all in one. If you want to experience every side of Bangkok in a single day, this is the way to do it. The contrast between the quiet traditional canals and the soaring skyscrapers and mega malls was stark. And this was an epic way to end the day. If you're looking for more ideas for your Bangkok trip, check out this video right here. It's my 3-day Bangkok itinerary that will show you exactly how to make the most of your time in the city.